Hello world, it's Curtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. I haven't done a video in a while. And just been going through things and making excuses on, if I'm too busy or need to be more structured, or running my trucking company in brokerage, or I'll tell you, there's can always be a whole list of excuses on it, really, and that's all they are, really, excuses, because ultimately it's just about a decision. That's all I had to make, was a decision. And life will guide you. Sometimes life will just allow you to continue down a path, and then something might just nudge you in order for you to get back on track. So I've been going through some things, and it's been an awesome 2 weeks. It's been, challenging. Let's just say it's been a little challenging, but the great thing is, I, just like in some of my other videos, I got to a point where you shift. A lot of these vehicles nowadays, they're automatics. This new generation, they don't know about shifting. But I drive my semi, it's a 10 gears. Like, I've got to shift every single day. And the big thing is shifting as fast as possible, no matter what situation you have went through. Because the faster you can get to taking full ownership, like I have 100% ownership in why this is happening to me, and you take yourself out of what that person or business or anything did to you, versus how did I react? How did I act? What was my actions? Did it align with my core values? Because if it doesn't align with your core values, then realistically, it's not a core value. It's actually more of like a want. So just owning it and looking in the mirror like that Michael Jackson man in the mirror, can you look yourself in your eyes and say, what did I do in this situation? And really, so what made me finally just go back to making these videos was I saw a cop, and I'll just actually get one of these out. I carry these gratitude coins. They're called challenge coins, but I actually call them gratitude coins for the military. I carry them around. I try to at least keep 2 on me at all times. I buy them by the 100 on Amazon. But it's really just a token of gratitude for me, for the military. What they've fought for our freedom. They fight for our country. They put their bodies on the line, their brains on the line. They come back with PTSD. Their lives are affected so that we as Americans and whoever veterans for other countries, they fight for our freedom. So I saw a police officer, and I was waving the police officer down, and I was like, run over there. I ran over to the cop car, and it was a lady, and I said, "Hey, miss, do you mind? Are you in the military? Servant of the military?" And she's like, "No, I'm not." And I said, "Well, do you have anyone on your force that you could give this to?" I'm not saying this to brag or nothing. Like, I don't want a pat on the back. I don't want any, you don't have to put in the comments like, "Hey, good job," nothing like that. It's just more about the story and why I'm telling this. So we get talking, and she's like, "Well, why do you do this?" And I told her, my gratitude towards the military. I almost became a Navy SEAL. Like, there were things that prevented me, like me pretty much breaking my whole back and neck was one of them. But I said I have a bunch of friends that are military and family, so it's my token of gratitude for the military. And then we got talking, and she's like, "Well, what, like you sound like a motivational speaker." And I was like, "Well, actually I am. I go into these youth prisons. I speak to the kids, which I haven't done recent enough." And I told her, I was like, "You know what? Like, I had to just be honest with you, and I got to stop you right there. I'm making excuses. My life got too busy. My business got too busy. My brokerage, my writing my book, and I just started going on with excuses." And I said, to be honest, it's all excuses, but I really got to get back. And I said, to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I started this brokerage, so I can get out of my semi and not put so much time and energy into, being involved with my trucking company, and really getting to where I spend more time doing the things that I love. And she's like, well, what made you get to working with youth? And I said, well, to be honest, it was my childhood. Like I went through, my version of a messed up childhood that impacted me and created this paradigm within me. And, I used to mentor grown men, but I realized old dogs don't learn new tricks unless they want to learn new tricks. But I said the youth, they want to be forgiven for their mistakes that they've made and their bad choices. And that's why I go in there and I talk to them. And the main youth correctional facility that I go to is the Pendleton Youth Prison in Pendleton, Indiana. And right across the street is the adult prison. And I told her, I said, I tell them kids, and a lot of times I end up taking off my button-up shirt, and I normally have a shirt like this underneath it. And that way they don't call me a suit. Because see, if somebody comes in and they think that you learned it out of a book, they can smell it a mile away. And when I show them these tattoos and I'm like, hey, I got my armpits tattooed. Like, who do you know? Like, I've been through some life. It gets some validity to them. And now they trust me and they know that I understand them. And I said, miss, I got to be honest with you. I have battery on a police officer on my record. And of course, it was like 15 years ago. I don't even know when it was, but I said, miss, I used to be all like NWA, like F the police. And I said, it's just, I was a product of my environment. And see, that's what creates your paradigm. Your paradigm is formed in between the ages of like 5 and 16. Because, when you start hitting 16, you're like, oh, I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. But that's when you're a sponge and you really start to learn. So that's where the saying comes from, it's an apple, you don't fall far from the tree. But at some point in our lives, we have to realize that we're an adult and we make our own decisions. And if it's up to us, if we want to break that generational curse and what legacy we're going to create on this earth. And I have a purpose, a calling, and a passion on my life to create a legacy that not only affects my relationships, as well as my children who are becoming a super sponge of all the things dad does. And then also your legacy that you create are going to dictate, the family curse on the grandchildren and great-grandchildren and generations to come. And that's why I'm creating these videos. That's why I am writing a book. That's why I am building a mastermind. That's why I am working with my nonprofit, the 501c3, and all the events that I've done, and why I go into these youth prisons, because it's not even just about my family, but also other families. And how many lives can I impact? Because at the end of your life, I truly believe that you're going to meet a God, and he's going to show you a person that looks just like you. It's almost like a twin, but their health, they look a little bit better. What they're wearing and what they've accomplished, and God's going to say, I gave you all of these traits and abilities and lessons, and this is the person that you could have became. You could have lived the exact life that you wanted to live if you would have just made some different decisions. If you would have chose to heal from that trauma and the thing that happened to you, that actually God was setting you up. He was giving you the tools that you needed in order for you to create the life that you truly wanted to live. He knows what life you want to live, and you have it within you, but you have to stop. Like me, I had to stop making excuses, and you have to go. You just have to go. You have to heal. I just got done with an hour long. It was actually like an hour and a half long therapy session with my counselor, and I'm paying to go to counseling every single week so that I can take full ownership of my life and heal and grow and evolve, because that's the only thing. If things aren't going to change unless you change. And see, there's only one thing that needs to change in order for you to have the life that you want to live. And that's yourself. You got to take 100% ownership. It is my fault all the relationships failed because I either made bad decisions, reacted badly, or I allowed it. I didn't set healthy boundaries, and I didn't learn to become an expert communicator. So it is my fault for every failed relationship, whether it was with a girlfriend, a wife, a friend, a family member, a job, anything. I have to take full responsibility. And the thing is, for your life to become what you went through, you have to forgive and you have to take full ownership, and you have to realize I went through the things that I went through in order to bring me into becoming the person that I am meant to be in my life. So I just want to leave you with that. Whatever you went through things to help other people through them. That's what I told that police officer. I went through those things in order to help all these kids get through those things. And I tell them in that youth prison, I said, look, your clock resets at 18. You're wiped clean. But if you want to go across the street to that big boy prison over there at Pendleton, keep making those same decisions. Keep being around those same people, because you will be over there in that adult prison. So if you want change in your life, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, can I look myself in the mirror? Am I happy with the person I am? Because if not, that same cycle is going to keep coming. You're going to be in the same position in your life. And you don't want to become one of those people at the end of their life living in regret. Like, I should have done this. I should have got healing from this. I should have created this. I should have started this business. I should have become this speaker. I should have wrote this book. I could have, would have, should have. Because that's what it is. You can do anything you want in life once you make a decision. And that's truly what becoming boundless is all about. Owning it. Take 100% ownership. Start putting in the actions to fix it. The best apology is change behavior. Set boundaries. Learn to communicate. Learn to evolve. Every single day, become a better version of yourself. Just 1% better. And at the end of your life, you're going to be grateful that you have become the person you have because of the actions you have put in to create the life you want to live. I love you all. Best wishes. Be boundless.